I haven't been this wowed by a case since Benjamin Button, and while this may not be curious, it definitely has a few things going for it. The Phanteks Enthoo EVOLV ATX case classifies as an enthusiast mid-tower chassis, but it's still on the fairly large side, standing at about 19.5 inches tall, 9.25 inches wide, and about 20 inches deep. I'll be working with a satin black case, but it also comes in anthracite gray and galaxy silver if you're feeling a little less sensual and a little more sci-fi. The chassis is very sturdy, composed of mostly steel with an aluminum exterior. Magnetic LED strips will work in this case. Kind of. More on that in a hot minute. The front I/O panel has two USB 3.0 ports, headphone and microphone jacks, a button for the case LEDs, and the power button hangs out all on its lonesome at the top. There are 10 colors for the front panel and power button illumination that can be cycled by pressing the little button hidden by this garage door kind of thing. Holding the button for 2 seconds will cycle lighting effects from solid to breathing to fading through the lot of them. There's a fan filter for the power supply that slides out from the back and a fan filter in front that can be accessed by pulling out the bottom part of the front plate. There's some subtle ventilation towards the top of the case so you don't choke your top intake should you choose to populate that area. And last thing to mention about the outwards appearance, probably the main star of the show and the only thing that sets it apart from the original Enthoo EVOLV, the tempered glass side panels. Yes, panels, plural. You know how when your mother told you to clean up your room and you took all your crap and you threw it under the bed? Well, Phanteks said, don't worry about that. We've made your bed transparent, so you don't have to be dishonest with your mom ever again. But hey, if you're the type of person that likes to show off your behind-the-scenes cable management, well, there you go. Weirdo. There is some foam padding to prevent vibration noises and to help prevent scratches during handling. They should start including these with girlfriends. Taking a look inside, you'll find that even though it's not a full tower, it's still got plenty of room for everything else. It supports eATX motherboards up to 264mm wide, ATX, micro ATX, and mini ITX form factor motherboards as well. Two 140mm fans are included in the front, and one 140mm fan is included in the back, all of which are optimized for static pressure. I left them in purely out of laziness. Also, change unsettles me. And they're not too loud, so I really can't complain. All fans included can be replaced by 120mm fans just in case you're not into the extra girth. Both the front and top bracket can support 3 120mm fans, up to a 360mm radiator, 2 140mm fans, or a 280mm radiator. You'll need to remove this bottom plate to install front radiators larger than 120mm, and you won't be able to use these hard drive expansion slots. There are 7 expansion slots for graphics cards, sound cards, Wi-Fi cards, magic cards, whatever, and there's room for up to 8 3.5-inch hard drives, but only 5 brackets are included. There are 3 dedicated spots for SSDs, but they only include 2 brackets for those, and like I mentioned before, there's room for about 7 fans, but Phanteks only includes 3. You can buy all the accessories to complete the case from their website, but hey, at least they include both side panels. They also include this nice plastic box that holds all the screws you're definitely going to lose, and they include a little bracket for mounting your pump should you decide to go the custom water cooling route. Pump and reservoir mounting options are available in the front where you would normally have the 3.5-inch hard drives. Building inside of the case was an absolute pleasure aside from a couple of small discrepancies. Even though your backside is completely exposed, they provide plenty of tie downs and velcro straps to hold your shit. They provide a pretty large cutout in case you need to access the back to install various cooling solutions, and an appreciated, but not particularly exceptional, fan controller that's powered via SATA. So that's cool. The last noteworthy things behind the motherboard tray are a couple of dedicated slots for SSDs that just sort of slide and lock in, and 2 toolless brackets for 3.5-inch hard drives. I'd like to point out that the hard drive brackets that go in the basement have little pegs in them for keeping the drive in place, and those pegs may not be compatible with all drives. My 6TB drive wasn't having none, but my 2TB wasn't being a little bit. In the belly of the beast, we find another dedicated spot for a 2.5-inch drive, 5 slots for 3.5-inch drives, a basement to hide your deepest, darkest secrets, and a bracket for holding your radiator. This bracket is mandatory for top-mounted radiator installations, but it's overall a good thing. It shifts the rad away from your motherboard so you won't run into clearance issues with your RAM or VRM heatsinks. Building inside the case went perfectly except for 2 minor hiccups, one of which is my fault because I'm a grade 8 putz. I populated the 2 lower hard drive areas just to find out that I didn't have enough clearance for my GPU. If you want to fill up all of those 3.5-inch slots, a 980 Ti Amp Extreme Edition from Zotac is just a little too long to put in comfortably. Phanteks says that the max GPU length is about 300mm if you have the HDD brackets installed, but I completely ignored it. If you're not using those brackets though, the GPU clearance becomes 420mm, so blaze it up. Get it because graphics cards get hot and drugs, and that second issue I ran into is so dinky that it's almost not even worth mentioning, but I'm going to mention it anyway. If you install a top-mounted radiator, you won't have any room to fit an LED strip in front of it. You'll have to route it around the back, which may or may not be an issue if you lack extensions. But hey, you're smart people, you'll figure something out. Other than that, I love pretty much everything about this case. The only thing I can think to improve on is probably the mounting system for the tempered glass side panels. As they are now, you need to remove 4-thumb screws at the corners which are padded to avoid scratching, which is great, but after those are off, I always feel like if I'm not extra careful, the panel's going to fall off and blow up one of Mark Zuckerberg's satellites. The case itself is also a little on the heavy side, but it feels so sturdy that I don't even care. I'm always an advocate for lower prices, but this case is so swell I feel like the $190 price tag on Amazon is completely justified. Links in the description for your convenience. All that being said, good job Phanteks, I haven't been this turned on since the i7-6900K. So that's all I have to say about that. If you think I did a good job, toss me a like on this video because that'd be swell. On the other hand, if you think I suck and you hate everything I do, leave me a dislike because I'd probably deserve it. Leave me a comment down below if I missed something that you wanted to hear about and I'll answer it as soon as I see it. Go ahead and hit the subscribe button if you want to see more stupid shit like this, and thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video. Bye bye. That went smoother than I expected, I think. I haven't been this... Here we go. 2 140mm fans are included in the front, and one 140mm Other than that, I love pretty much everything about this case.